Welcome back to my channel, everyone. It is your hostess, Queen Karizma, and I'm back with another Charisma Speaks podcast and video here on the Charisma Speaks YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to discuss smear campaigns and how you can survive after cult or narcissistic smear campaigns are used against you, what my story is and what happened with me. And I'm going to just give some advice. I'm going to share some articles. I'm also going to possibly show some screenshots. I have one here already. So I will just start by saying smear campaigns are usually used against former members in religious cults specifically and other cults, but mainly you see this in religious cults. And the reason that they do this is because they want to silence former members, they want to discredit former members, and they want their members not to be influenced by the experiences of former members. So, this is a way to keep their members in check, silence your truth, and to discredit your reputation or credibility. And so, a bunch of people is usually, like I said, a cult, which is it could be a small group or it could be a large group. In my case, this was a large group. IUIC have basically expanded internationally. So, one weapon they use is social media. They use social media as a weapon to do their smear campaigns and to harm the reputation of former members. All right. So, I'm going to start by sharing a website here just so that I can get more into the definition of smear campaigns. The first website I will be sharing is choosingtherapy.com. A little bit about them. Choosing Therapy, this is their About Me section. Choosingtherapy.com is dedicated to creating the best evidence based mental health articles on the web and providing a safe, welcoming space where everyone feels comfortable to ask questions, learn, and grow. When you read an article on choosingtherapy.com, you're benefiting from the expertise and real life experience of licensed psychologists, therapists, and counselors. All right, so an article that I'm reading is coming from one of these experts, either a licensed psychologist, therapist, or counselor. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring up this article now. Let me share this screen really quick. Okay, so narcissistic smear campaign, what is it? Tactics and how to deal with it. All right, and those are the authors right there. There's an author, which is a licensed counselor, and then it looks like there's a medical reviewer, which was a medical doctor who reviewed this article. So let's get right into it. A narcissistic smear campaign is used to discredit another person by hijacking the narrative of a relationship after it has ended. A narcissist will spread lies or create embellishments about their victim in order to destroy the individual's reputation. This is a common behavior for those with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, when they realize they have lost control over this person. All right. And so it looks like this is like a Better Help, which is an online mental health platform that basically offer counseling services or therapeutic services. So yeah, looks like that was for that. So, what is a narcissistic smear campaign? A narcissistic smear campaign is a narcissistic manipulation tactic used to harm a person's reputation and isolate them from their support network. While this method is commonly used by those with narcissistic personality disorder, smear campaigns are not that different from typical efforts to slander an individual, such as that between politicians in an election. However, one conducted by a narcissist will be vindictive and persistent. That's important to know. Vindictive and persistent. Often, this is exactly what a narcissist does at the end of a relationship. So now we'll get into the elements of a narcissistic smear campaign. A smear campaign is often conducted by a vindictive narcissist who is seeking revenge against their victim. Usually, they are angry at this person for ending the relationship or doing something that makes them feel wronged. In order to villainize the victim, that's important right here, because this is the main focus of narcissistic smear campaigns, is to villainize the victim so that they want you not to feel sorry for their level of hatred, for their level of maybe violence, maybe inciting violence against them, encouraging people to harass the individual. They want you not to feel sorry for the person that they're attacking. So they will first villainize the person or dehumanize them so that you do not feel bad at what they're saying against the person. So that's villainizing the victim, right? So they want you to think that this person is not a victim. They will usually have negative propaganda, maybe go look back at tweets or videos, and they'll only show negative aspects of the person or controversial aspects of the person. They don't balance it with good. The good that the person does is strictly all negative. All right. So they villainize the victim so that you don't feel bad for them, to dehumanize them in order to justify their hatred and rage against them. The narcissist, uses lies, exaggerations, and embellishments of the truth to instill doubt about the victim's reputation among others. So here's elements of a narcissistic smear campaign. It's vengeful. This is almost always a perceived injury, such as a threat to their pride, that causes a narcissist to engage in a smear campaign. And you will never know the reason. When it comes to these cults, the reason they feel that they've been injured by the person leaving and the person telling their experiences, and especially if it wasn't a good experience with them, they feel wronged, they feel injured, they perceive that as a threat to their pride. And this is where the retaliation comes from. Okay, this can be an individual as well. You may not even know the reason. You may not even know the person. This has happened to me online with people I don't even know, people I never had personal communication with. It happens a lot with people who are anonymous on the internet, who don't like you for A, B, C, and D reasons. So this is something that happens a lot, and usually social media is used for the smear campaign. It's done overtly. So their behavior is often excessive. You're going to be able to see the excessive behavior, the obsession with the individual. Smear campaigns are much more than just occasional talking behind someone's back. That's important. It's more than trolling, right? A troll may say something negative about somebody, a gossiper may say something negative, and it's occasional. It's not consistent, it's not repetitive, it's not persistent. With smear campaigns and with narcissists, it's overly excessive and you can see it. You can see the obsession with the person, right? And it's often very, very vindictive, nasty, negative. It's not an opinion, it's negativity. They may try to shape it as, oh, I'm just doing this because I care about A, B, and C, or I care about you. No, this is vindictive. It's often very nasty, and it involves rumors. It could involve half truths. It's more than just talking behind someone's back, sharing an opinion, or reporting on someone on the internet or during like a news article or something. So that's what you need to know. These are persistent and consistent acts to harm another person's reputation. It's done purposefully. A narcissist knows what they are doing. Their actions are not done by mistake, despite what they might say to others about just being concerned. So this is often what they will use. Oh, I'm just letting people know about this individual. And you know good and well it's more than just letting people know. It's literally destroying their character and trying to cause that person harm. It's more than just concerned, right? Being concerned. It's not a mistake. It's not done um unintentionally. This is done purposefully with a hateful vengeance. All right? So they have a target on this person's back essentially, and they know exactly what they're doing. It is persistent. Even when faced with backlash, such as someone not believing them, their behavior persists. So even if they have people who are like questioning what they're talking about, questioning their behavior, and starting to question who they are and how credible they are, that doesn't stop them. Even when they have people telling them that isn't right, what you're saying, what you're doing isn't right, something's off with this, they still continue to do it. That's how you know it is a smear campaign from a narcissist. They don't care what's right, they don't care what's wrong. They care about damaging that person. That target, like I said, that target is on that person's back, and they are not taking it off. All right. It contains narcissistic projection. So a lot of the times, many people with these narcissistic personality disorder or NPD traits, they actually project their bad qualities onto others, right? They will project their bad qualities onto others. If they lie and steal, they accuse the target of lying and stealing. So, if you ever been the victim of one of these smear campaigns by either a former lover, a former spouse, a former friend, some random person on the internet, right? Or a cult, you will understand that a lot of times they project their traits, their bad qualities onto their targets. I see this a lot. I see this a lot, right? For instance, like it says, if they lie and steal, they'll accuse the target of lying and stealing. If they are hypocrites, they'll accuse the target of being hypocrites. If they are promiscuous, they'll accuse the target of being promiscuous. So this is like them deflecting from their own selves and projecting their bad qualities or what they perceive as bad onto others. So others can also perceive that person as bad. Okay? These smear campaigns are calculated. Narcissists know who they can and can't manipulate in the smear campaigns. No person is off limits. Nobody's off limits. No one is off limits. It can be your grandmother, which has happened to me. It can be your disabled child. It can be um, someone who's deceased. There's no limit to smear campaigns. No person is off limits. Nobody, right? But they usually have an idea of who will believe what lies. So they usually know the people who's going to believe the lies. These are the people who don't ask questions. These are the people who believe everything they hear. These are the people who probably don't even like the target for whatever reason. So they know that those people, their supporters, are going to believe them over the other person. And that's usually what they count on. All right. So let's go down here. So, why do narcissists use smear campaigns? Well, there are many reasons why narcissists use smear campaigns, and often they vary, right? Depending on the nature of the relationship with the victim. So, like I said, with Israel United in Christ, the Black radical Hebrew Israelite group, Black founded radical Hebrew Israelite group that I survived, they do this to anyone who leaves the group. Okay. And once they feel that they have no control over that person anymore, because in the group they have full control over their behavior, by using the Bible, control over the way they dress, control over who they associated with, control over any activity that they do online, micromanaging their online activity, having leaders of the group spy on members to make sure that they are doing what the leadership ordered them to do or ordered them not to do. Um, it depends, but that's with IUIC. They usually do this to anyone who leaves the group. It is a great offense to them. Okay, so usually they revolve around a need for revenge. That's the basis. One of the bases of smear campaigns is based off revenge. It's based off retaliation. It's based off them feeling wronged and they have to do something to that person who they feel wronged, um, who they feel wronged them. Okay, they doing it from revenge, so it's not coming from an unbiased position. It's not coming from a well balanced, thought out position. It's coming from hatred. It's coming from vindictiveness. It's coming from revenge. A goal to discredit the target. They want to discredit them, even if they're telling the truth. They want to discredit them because they don't want other people listening in on what they have to say, and the narcissist's own lack of compassion and empathy. This is big. Welcome, Go Dogs. I see you. This is big because many times you will see that these type of people, narcissists, they lack compassion and they lack empathy. This is why they could say some of the nastiest things about an individual, and there is no compassion and no empathy. They do it because it makes them feel better about harming someone else. Because again, this is based off of revenge. They don't have compassion, they don't have empathy. Otherwise, they don't care. So, this is a ruthless type of person. This is someone who has a pattern of this, maybe with family and friends. Maybe family members know that they're like this. A mean family member that nobody likes to be around, right? The mean aunt, the mean uncle, right? I think everybody probably have a narcissistic family member or someone who has narcissistic traits, who lack compassion and empathy, and nobody wants to be around them. All right. They also create these smear campaigns to protect their image. So, whatever false image they have, whatever facade they're putting on for the public or people who don't know them personally, they want to protect that facade. So, with IUIC, what they have, the facade that they have is unity, right? Um, Unified minorities, everybody coming together as a family, right? We believe in marriage. We believe in good things of the Bible. We're following the Bible, right? It sounds really good. The outside facade looks very good. And then you realize once you're in it that that was a complete and utter lie. It's kind of like an individual, right? You fall in love with somebody, they have all these good traits that they show you when you're dating, you're excited, and then you get in a relationship with them or you move in with them, and it's like slowly the facade, the mask starts to peel off, and you're like, uh oh, what did I get myself into? Why didn't I see this before? Why didn't I see the red flags, right? So that's similar. And this is why a lot of narcissistic relationships, when the person breaks up with them, they go straight online to have a smear campaign against the person. A lot of people have reported that. As soon as they break up with somebody, suddenly there's revenge, PORN, pictures you probably had with that person, videos, whatever private business y'all was doing, that's all public now, right? It's the same type of thing. They want to harm the person. Narcissistic injury. So a smear campaign may be used to protect the narcissist's facade. Sometimes this is due to low self esteem and self worth, or to avoid or decrease any narcissistic injury they have experienced. So, this is basically to make them feel better. And it does make them feel better to destroy another person. It makes them feel better about themselves. A lot of them have very low self esteem in both cults and in these type of partnerships, friendships, romantic partners. A lot of the times they have a low self-esteem and low self-worth, so their ego is very fragile. So any little thing is offensive to them. You're walking on eggshells, right? You're walking on eggshells, especially in these cults. You feel like, I felt I was always on eggshells. Every little thing I did, somebody got to talk to me about something. Oh, you have a little piece of your hair out. You need all of your hair covered. Oh, your skirt is not long enough. It goes to your ankles. It needs to cover your ankles. That's what I mean by eggshells. Any little thing could offend them. So they use smear campaigns. They weaponize smear campaigns to maintain control. So, because narcissists typically have control issues, a smear campaign may be used as a way to remain in control of a situation. If they feel they are losing power over a person, this can cause the narcissist to go full force into a smear campaign in order to try to convince others of their side. They want to appear like the victim. So many people with narcissistic traits believe they are doing what they need to do and aren't behaving inappropriately. That's important. They don't think that what they're doing is inappropriate. They don't think that putting your intimate photos on the internet is inappropriate, because look at this person, right? They villainize the victim. Look at this person. Look at all the bad things they said and all the bad things they did. So even when they're doing something wrong, making up rumors about you, making up rumors about your family, making up lies, right? Saying half truths, right? Even when they're doing that inappropriate behavior, they don't feel like they're doing anything wrong. They don't think they're behaving, and nothing's wrong with what they're doing. So that's an issue, right? Because this is what a lot of psychopaths a lot of psychopaths and sociopaths, they have these type of personality disorders. They don't think what they're doing is wrong. They took the life of people, right? I don't think what I did was wrong because I did it in the name of God. I did it because I was helping other people. So that's important to understand. They feel they're doing what they need to do and aren't behaving inappropriately. That's dangerous. Often, such as in the case of ending a relationship or friendship, a narcissist feels that they are the ones being victimized. A smear campaign is used to further this false narrative that they have been wrong. So, even if that person is the actual perpetrator, that person did you wrong, that person cheated on you, that person smeared your name, even if they're the actual cause of the problem, they will present the narrative as if they are the victim, and they will make you, the real victim, out to be the villain. And this false narrative makes them feel good, and that makes their fragile ego feel a little better. They want to appear like the victim. Okay. As we stated before, to get revenge, a lot of times this is based off revenge. When the person with the NPD traits feel wronged, a smear campaign can be used to get revenge on the person for any perceived offense. Again, you may not even know where this person came from. It could be a random person. You may not even know what you did to offend somebody. Anything that they perceive is offensive can cause them to have an entire smear campaign against you. And sometimes you don't even know what you did. For instance, pertaining to my situation, when I left IUIC, I didn't expect anybody to retaliate, right? Because when I was in there, I believed in all the good from them. So I didn't look at them as bad. I didn't look at them as doing anything bad. And then, I heard from other like people who used to be in the group, some of them would say, "Oh, no, this happens when you leave the group." But they persuade you that those people are lying, so I didn't believe none of that. I'm like, "No, that's not who these guys are. These are prophets of God. They're teaching our people this and that." Until it happened to me. I left quietly. I did not return. And they still did a smear campaign, no matter how good my reputation was, no matter if I helped them with their children and took people to work and school and handle their business because they were on the bus and didn't have a car, no matter if I put my money in the congregation and fed the congregation and brought waters and wine and made unleavened bread and was on the street in the triple digit heat in Las Vegas, selling Gatorade and water bottles and a long skirt and a head wrap, almost about to faint, and they didn't even offer me a bottle of water. Even when I gave my last dimes to them as being unemployed, and they didn't help me when I was unemployed, right? After all that, I leave quietly. They still did a smear campaign against me. That's how you know that you are in a narcissistic relationship or a destructive cult. And it's pretty much the same because the leaders are narcissists usually. Even if you did nothing wrong, that's how dangerous this is. They will still do a smear campaign on you on social media. It's no getting out of that without them doing a smear campaign, is what I'm saying. This is why people choose to stay in the group. A lot of them choose to stay because they don't want that smear campaign. Okay? So, what you say? You said exactly. Exactly. Wicked, self-righteous cult leadership. That's exactly who IUIC is. You don't know how wicked and evil these people are until you leave their cult. And this is why I started researching cults, because I said a regular church do not behave this way. Any Christian church that I left, there was never a smear campaign against me. Never. I've never experienced this before joining IUIC. Never, from any church. If I wanted to leave a Christian church because I felt it wasn't for me, I could just leave peacefully. That's the difference. When you choose to leave IUIC or any of these other religious cults, but you're not sure they're a cult, this is the first sign that they're a cult, that smear campaign against you. That's how you know you was in something that was not holy, that was not good, and that was not constructive. So this is why a lot of people stay. They don't want to go through the trauma, the pain of these smear campaigns, because it's hundreds of thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of member against just little old you. And at this time, I had a YouTube, but I wasn't really a content creator. My very first videos were promoting IUIC. Very first videos. I'm talking good news about them. I'm trying to get people to join. Very first videos, how to join the online classes. And then when that happened, I didn't even want to speak out because I already felt the backlash from already on Facebook. But then they kept on going and kept on going, and other people just kept on talking about me, kept on slandering me. I was like, oh no, I got to tell people how these people really are, because they felt like I didn't have a voice. They were silencing me. They're like, you don't have a platform anyway. We got all these, they basically bully you. We got all these people, like, who gonna believe you? So that's when I started doing my videos. And even though I didn't expect anybody to even see me because I didn't have followers, I didn't have supporters at that time, everybody was against me. This is how my channel grown to over 20,000 subscribers. Over 20,000 from me sharing my experiences. So that's what really got them even more mad. That's what got them even more mad. Okay. So let me just show y'all a quick example. All right. This is before I had my YouTube channel, and this is what I have on my thumbnail. As you can see on the left, be mindful of this sister, right? Be mindful of this sister, Israel. This is the example of what they post. She is bugged out. Already within the first two lines, it's defamation and slander. She's bugged out. So that's insinuated that I have a mental illness or I'm crazy, right? Because that's like New York kind of lingo. I'm crazy or something, right? She is bugged out and hasn't been seen. This is the offense, and hasn't been seen by the Vegas congregation since August. So this how you know anything after this that they said about me is a part of a smear campaign, because if anything they said afterwards were true, what do you think it would be in this very first post that they had against me? So my offense is I haven't been seen at the Vegas congregation since August. Unfollow. That's my offense. This is my offense. I stopped congregating with them. So that warrants them to post my photos, post my Facebook, right? Because they, like I told y'all, they stalk people, they stalk their members, they micromanage their members. And then when they see that you don't return, they still stalk you, even if you don't congregate with them anymore. They still watch my videos to this day. They still leave hateful comments. I still got to block them every single day. But this is an example. My offense, what caused them to post my photos and post my Facebook, is me not congregating with them. Anything after this that they say is all lies to smear my name, because people still they still have people not believing that, okay, why did you post her picture? Like, what did she do wrong? I don't get what she did wrong, though. She hasn't been seen in the Vegas congregation, so that means she's bugged out. So they, no matter if you leave quietly, this is what they do. This is what you can expect from these cults, right? And I have more proof of their defamation and slander of me and everything that they said about me. So I'm not going to get into all that because that's for a different video, and I'm going to have to put my watermark on those photos so people don't take them out of context. But I have even worse than that. That was just one post, right? I have a handful of posts. I have responses, how the members went in there, defaming my character, all because I left, right? Didn't do nothing to them. It's because I left, and that injured them. So they wanted to get revenge, right? So that's the smear campaign they had on me on Facebook for years. Had this smear campaign for years, did videos to their hundreds of thousands of followers. The videos probably still go on. They just probably don't post it publicly. So to get revenge. When the person with NPD traits feels wronged, a smear campaign can be used to get revenge on the person for any perceived offense. Whether they do this by making a victim look bad to their boss or other family members, the court system, or their social circle, The narcissist creates a sense of doubt about the individual as a part of their efforts for revenge. They also create smear campaigns to accomplish a goal or victory. Not all smear campaigns happen at the end of a romantic relationship. Some occur in the workplace. How many of y'all had this happen to you on a job? So it's not boxed into these categories. This can happen to you anywhere, anytime, and any place. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It doesn't have to be a religious cult. It could be right on your job. Somebody don't like you on your job, right? So it occurs in the workplace, especially if one has a boss or coworker with narcissistic traits. For example, office smear campaigns achieve a goal of making the narcissist look good and their coworkers look bad. So if you have a narcissistic boss, everything you do is not enough. They make you look bad, right? They make themselves look good. They probably take credit for all the hard work you put in. It varies, right? So this is just not a one hat fits all type of deal. It happens in many different circumstances, okay? So here are some examples of narcissistic smear campaigns. A narcissistic smear campaign can occur in any kind of relationship, no matter the type, friendship, romantic, office, or familial. No one is safe from a narcissist's vengeful efforts. Families targeting their own family is not off limits with a narcissist when a narcissist feels wronged. A narcissistic parent might use a smear campaign against an estranged child or the family scapegoat in order to distract others from the family dysfunction or discredit any allegations of abuse or trauma. Romantic relationships. Probably the most recognizable smear campaign is one that occurs against the narcissist ex partner. This often is done as an act of revenge, as the narcissist feels injured by this person ending the relationship. For example, a narcissistic ex partner will smear a person or attempt to discredit them as a parent, create lies in court, and try to turn others in the family and circle of friends against them. It is much more than a breakup drama or a high conflict divorce. It is often labeled and thus commonly excused. Friendships. Sometimes a narcissist may use a smear campaign against a friend in order to discredit and isolate them. A narcissistic friend will go out of their way to hurt the reputation of a friend who they feel has shamed them in some way. While many who are not familiar with this tactic often brush it off as normal drama, a smear campaign is a severe form of bullying, right? It's not just, oh, somebody said something bad about me. Oh, they just said something bad about me online. No, this is consistent, persistent, and usually they'll have a gang of people that they rallied against you. Okay. Work relationship. A narcissistic coworker may use a smear campaign against a colleague or office mate to elevate their position or reputation within the workplace. Similarly, a narcissistic boss could spread rumors about an ex employee to prevent them from succeeding in their new role or with the goal of making them look bad to another staff or upper management. Religious or spiritual cults. It is very common for cults to use smear campaigns against someone they feel is putting the faith at risk by speaking out against them. They may use behavior modification on current members in order to create a mutual and shared sense of doubt and disdain against the person who has left the cult. So, here are some tips with dealing with narcissistic smear campaigns, okay? Now, how you respond makes all the difference. And this is true because it will and will continue to escalate, especially if you respond. So, number one, don't feed into their manipulation. As difficult as it may seem, staying calm and collected when dealing with the narcissist is essential. Sometimes, if someone refuses to react, this can help stop a smear campaign in its tracks. At the very least, it will usually prevent it from getting worse. Fighting back against the smear campaign can trigger narcissistic rage, which will only increase the narcissist's desire to maintain their vengeful efforts. Two, don't try to persuade others. This is, I'm telling you, this, if I would have known this, I would have had a better experience, because trying to persuade others that something isn't true, or that, these people retaliated because I left the church, and the so-called church, and I didn't do nothing bad to anybody, is a waste of time. People are going to believe what they want to believe. So number two, don't try to persuade others. This can be one of the most frustrating things for victims of a narcissistic smear campaign. Unfortunately, trying to persuade someone that the information they're being fed is false can have the opposite effect of making you look like the vindictive one. Those who believe a narcissist's lies are likely not your true friends or supporters if you are online. That's all you have to know. Anyone who believes narcissistic lies, they're not your true friend, they're not your true supporters. You didn't need them anyway. They shouldn't be in your life anyway. So don't try to persuade others. Let them believe what they want to believe. And if that causes separation, let it happen, because you don't need people like that in your life. Three, pick your battles. When dealing with a narcissistic smear campaign, pick your battles. If the narcissist is making claims about your children, family, or employment, these are important to address. Everything else, such as lies that you have an addiction, right, or some other nonsense, simply ignore it. Eventually, their lies will catch up to them and their vindictive behaviors will shine through. So that's really good advice. Pick your battles. Pick your battles. You don't have to address every little thing, but if they're talking about your children, family, or employment, then those things you can address. If they're making up something about you, you're an addict, you did this, you have some type of disease because of that, and ignore it. Ignore it. Number four, model good behavior. This is some good advice right here, because you can easily stoop as low as the person who's doing it, right? In many cases, I have done that, trying to defend myself, trying to defend my name in this. And I have stooped down plenty of times to these people's levels. And so it is always good to model good behavior, whether it be remaining a positive example to your children or just choosing to avoid stepping to the narcissist level. Conducting yourself professionally and respectfully at all times is necessary. If you bash the person, others will question if what they are hearing is true. That is very, very important, and it's very hard to do, because you want to defend yourself so bad and you don't realize that you're basically mirroring their behavior, right? And now they really have something to talk about, because they're getting reactions from you from what they're doing, whether they do it publicly or they may do some things privately. They may be calling your phone, harassing you. They may dox you. They may put private information about your home address or something, and then they say, look how they're acting, as if they didn't do anything. But it's important to continue to model good behavior, even in all of that. Even in all of that, let them face their own consequences. Let them be the bad behavior people who's acting a fool and acting outrageous. The people who will see the behavior for what it is going to see it for what it is. Don't even engage. Keep yourself at peace. Protect your mental health, right? Number four, stay true to yourself. Staying true to yourself during this time is crucial. A narcissist is doing everything they can to get you to react. That's the point. They will do everything they can to get you to react. And then they'll be like, see, I told you, look how she acts. Look how he acts. I told you that they're not Christians. See, they don't believe in God. I told you. What Christian would say that? They will do everything that they can to react, right? What mother would say that? What father would do that? Don't react. And it's easier said than done. So if you react, you justify their claims of you being crazy, bipolar, or selfish, or whatever the smear campaign was about. Do not give them the satisfaction of reacting to their claims. Remember your worth. Number 6, seek support from others. Staying in contact with loved ones provides you with much needed support and guidance. However, cease contact with mutual friends or colleagues who are acting as narcissistic enablers. This is so important. If you have family, friends, or if you're an influencer and you have so-called supporters or people who used to follow you or whatever, you see them in other people's comment section and they're enabling that behavior, aka they're flying monkeys, you need to cut them off. Cut them off. Cut off all contact, even if they're mutual friends or colleagues. Any enabler, cut them off. Focus your energy on staying close to those who truly support you. When you learn about the nasty things being said about you, you will need someone to lean on. Friends and family who are not part of the narcissist's attempts to at triangulation are the best resources. Limit unnecessary communication. If you are able, going no contact with the person who is smearing you is the best course of action. If you must have contact with them, there will inevitably be times when you will have to engage with them. In these situations, only communicate when necessary and make your responses emotionless and brief. Remain professional and concise. Number 8, consider therapy. Being the victim of a smear campaign can result in symptoms of anxiety or symptoms of depression. If you are struggling with these impacts, professional support can help you learn ways to manage these feelings and build communication skills. It also encourages you to empower yourself during the troubling time. There are different ways to find the right therapist, and using an online therapist directory can make the process simpler. All right. And then they said, in my experience working with survivors of dysfunctional and toxic relationships, a smear campaign is a very real and traumatic event for the target. The advice I give to my clients often corresponds with many of the suggestions listed in this article, but this is an unfair burden to place on people who are already weakened from abuse. My advice to everyone is to pay attention when someone seems angry and out for revenge. Talking about their painful experience is one thing, bashing another cruelly is unacceptable. While not all smear campaigns are as obvious, being mindful of how someone conducts themselves in regard to another person can help prevent the spread of cruel misinformation. All right. And they have different resources you can try. Again, this is choosingtherapy.com. This was written by a actual licensed counselor and it was reviewed by a medical doctor. All right. So check out that article on your own. Look more into other articles from choosingtherapy.com if you like that one. All right. So it is very, very damaging. And let me go back to this, just one example of Israel United in Christ, the radical Hebrew Israelite group that I left and didn't return to. My offense, according to this post, the reason I was bugged out is because I stopped congregating with the Las Vegas camp, right? So this tells you that they will watch you in these groups. And the reason I stopped congregating is because, like I mentioned before, I accepted a job and I couldn't get Saturday off, right? You got to stick to whatever your job schedule you for. So they were mad because after months of being unemployed, after months of them not helping me when they had the chance to, even though I didn't expect it, right? I didn't even ask for their help. I wanted to see what they were going to do. after denying multiple jobs because they had me work on the Sabbath and them pressuring people not to work on the Sabbath because the Bible says so, right? I finally accepted a position. And so I stopped congregating because of my job. That was the offense. Accepting the job and not congregating with them. Anything after that that's added to this is a lie. Any other rumor that they had to double down on their smear campaign is a lie. So be careful joining these religious groups, not knowing how they get down, not knowing how they treat former members, not knowing how they retaliate against people who leave. They don't want you to have to leave. It's like they want you imprisoned in the cult. You don't have a freedom of choice, right? So, um, again, people started sharing this. People started creating their own lies and rumors, adding on to this. I did nothing wrong to these people. After they just kept on cyber harassing me and bullying me online, slandering my name, that's when I started making the YouTube videos. And then they tried to act like the victim. And I was just a disgruntled former member. But they don't tell you what they do. Okay. So let me go ahead and read some of these comments before I wrap it up. I hope y'all learned something from this. If you like this video and the others, be sure to hit the like button. It reaches more people. Share the video. Um, you say, yeah, I heard. Welcome, DJ. Said, yes, I heard the smear campaign. It was wild on YouTube. Right. You said, Go Dog said, I remember when you left Karizma, I was on Facebook a lot at the time. Right. You remember how crazy that was? And if I didn't have God in my life, if I still didn't believe in God and I was a weak spirited person, I could have really done some harm to myself or somebody else, right? Because that's where it will lead you. Like it will make you feel like hurting somebody or hurting yourself. And I thank God that he was still a very big influence in my life, and that this experience showed me that actual religious cults existed even in the Black community, because I was completely ignorant to any of this before. So I just thank God for this experience. I'm a better person because of it. I've helped plenty of people, families, mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, single ladies, single men, children in court cases. So I'm happy that all this came out when it did, and that I took screenshots so that I can use these moments as teachable moments and to prove that no matter what anybody say about me, I'm still here and I'm still thriving and I'm still surviving, and I'm going to continue to work on myself and be the best version of myself and help others. So that's why I'm in the healthcare field now. I have a year left until I get my bachelor's degree in healthcare management, and I continue to help people, especially when it comes to their mental health. So I'm going to continue to be a problem for these type of groups, for these type of people. And yeah, I appreciate everyone who saw this from the beginning, everyone who actually was there to see this unfold, to see that people, even people who knew what they were doing, didn't have my back. I was and continue to be completely solo, right? Because it's not a job for everybody. But I was chosen to do this, so I'm gonna continue to expose. And I appreciate y'all in this live chat, everybody who's going to watch the replay. Go Dog said, I recall all the evil speaking about you on and the Facebook. Exactly. It was nonstop. Nonstop. And people got to realize too, just to put it in perspective, these are grown Black men who did this, and other leaders of other racial backgrounds, but mostly grown Black men were the ones who did these smear campaigns, was the ones who spread lies and rumors, was the ones who engaged and incited their followers, their hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, all these social media platforms to attack me, to leave me hateful messages, to harass me. And they continue to do that to this day. Not on such a large scale because I just blocked them, but they continue to do that to this day and deny any wrongdoing. Okay. So just be careful. Just be careful. This is not normal behavior. And yeah, check out other articles dealing with smear campaigns, dealing with narcissists, dealing with narcissistic abuse, and just educate yourself and do your own research. That's what I would say about that. I had another article I wanted to go over, but I'm not going to do that today. This video is long enough. So I appreciate everyone who tuned in today, everyone who's new to the channel, everyone who's subscribed, everyone who's meant to be here. I appreciate y'all, all of my supporters, those who continue to support me. And yeah, the exposing continues. The exposing continues. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you on the next Charisma Speaks podcast and YouTube video. Until then, peace, be blessed, and be safe out there. I'm out.